What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I wanted to put this in the beginning. Of course, we are coming to you live from Gotham Production Studios, which is our home here for X Drinking Buddy. Remember to subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/Brennan Tassif. You can also follow on social media at X Drinking Buddy on Instagram, Twitter, and follow me at Brennan T Comedy on all social media. Check out BrennanTComedy.com for the upcoming shows. And don't forget to get your X Drinking Buddy merch. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Boom. That's it. Easy peasy.
Grab me a beer and grab me a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your X Drinking Buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do, hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do, hang out with someone and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by a guest. This week is no exception. All the way from New York City, Andre Myrie.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, dude?
How you doing, bro?
Good. How are you?
I'm chilling, man.
Before we get too far into anything, plug everything up front. You have one of the most underrated Instagram handles of all time. So let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh, yeah. You find me at Andre2999. All right. Almost 3K. That's, It's fire because he actually gets it. Most people don't get it. People who do get it, I've realized we're operating on a different wavelength.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Andre299. Check me out on Street Famous NYC with Aaron Berg. That is, to me, one of the best shows on, if not the best show on Patreon, YouTube right now. It's hilarious, man. On the street, like
it's very funny, but it's man on the street, but it's man on the street to a whole different level.
A different level, yeah. It's not,
which is Aaron's style, and obviously by osmosis, your style.
Yeah, that's what we do, man. I produce a show at the Grizzly Pear every Wednesday. No, not every Wednesday. Every fourth Wednesday, called Lead Art Only. Make sure you guys check that out. 8 p.m. I have some of the dopest lineups you're gonna see. You're gonna see like cellar level lineups in there. Trust me. All right, and yeah, man. So what we got coming right now.
Cool. Well, we'll link everything in the show notes. I appreciate you coming on. We've been kind of planning this for a while. We used to run into each other a lot at Frantic for the last couple of years now. And then before we get too far into anything, just because we were talking about this before, but comedy is such a niche thing. Yeah. And we were talking about Chappelle and Patrice and everybody before, but how did you even get into stand-up? How did you find comedy?
Well, I've always been a stand-up fan, but I never even thought about doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Right?
So did you see stand-up, because you're younger than me, I think, and did you see stand-up on Comedy Central, or how did you even find? Because the reason I ask is because when I have guests come into the restaurant, they'll be like, "Oh, I love comedy," and I'll go, "Oh, who's your favorite comic?" And then they'll name Robin Williams, and I'm like, "Oh, so you don't follow stand-up?"
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to me how people even find it, because I found it through family.
My introduction to comedy was Eddie Murphy's Raw. That's the first piece of stand-up I ever saw.
That's a crazy one to jump into.
Yeah, I was mad young.
That's the red suit?
No, purple.
Purple. Delirious was red.
Yeah.
All right.
That was my intro to comedy.
God.
And yeah, man, you just always been a stand-up fan.
So you saw that and you're like, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah, but I never I was personal training before. I never contemplated in my mind doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Right, it was never even something but I was always a stand-up fan.
Yeah.
Then you get to see the Patrice elephant in the room.
That's so good.
I found out about Mr. P later on, which I think is his best body of work, Mr. P. Chappelle, but yeah, I fell in love with Chappelle as well too, bro.
When did you find him, through stand-up or the Chappelle show?
I found him Nutty Professor.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's the MC in that.
Yes, he was. Because you was
and he's doing the craziest.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a big hat in that?
Yeah, he has a big ass hat with the fucking dreadlocks and everything like that. Yeah, the slim slow. Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because I remember the first time I saw Chappelle was Half Baked.
Gotcha.
My cousin who introduced me to stand up had this movie and we watched it, and he goes, "Yeah, that's a comedian." He's a comic. And I go,
yeah.
well, that's weird because I've never seen him on because I used to record on VHS, the Comedy Central Presents every Friday, and I would just watch him over and over and over. And I was like, well, that's weird. I haven't seen him on Comedy Central. And I was so dumb. Now being in the industry as long as I have, I'm like, yeah, you fucking idiot. I was so dumb. I was like, oh, if they're not on Comedy Central Presents, then they don't do, like, I would never see them.
Yeah.
Because back then, 20-something years ago, that was the only avenue to see stand-up.
1,000%.
And he was like, yeah, he's a comic. And he was so young in that movie. And I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, he was so, but then you
go back and watch him and you're like, God damn, man.
That's how I realized. So I was like, oh, shit. And then you kind of like, you start watching, because my family, they always like, we're Jamaican, but like they would watch like the Def Comedy Jam, like they would watch all those things, like, and so I would be, because they would try to send me out the room, because but I always would be a little fly in the wall, and that shit was always funny to me.
Derek had one of the best ones where his dad would, they would tell him to go upstairs, and his dad would be like, you can't watch this on HBO, like channel 307. And then he would just go upstairs and turn it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same kind of, it's weird, like, because I think there are people who, when we watch comedy, we kind of fall in love with it because we're like, oh, you're manipulating words.
Yeah,
you're not using like instruments. You're not using like music. You're using words to invoke a reaction from a crowd, which is insane. Bro, it's like if you think about it, it's literally crazy. Like we have stuff. And we can get in the art of joke writing and all that stuff, but that's a different podcast. But we have things in our, like I have lines in my head always just floating around in my head where I'm like, oh, like if you're at a show, you're like, okay, I'll say this and it'll pull me out of whatever rut I'm in. Or if you're getting a big laugh, you're like, I'll say this and it'll get even bigger.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to me that it's like that we walk around with that in our head.
Yes, we do.
And so for you, because you were doing personal training, like you never thought to do stand up. You were a fan of it from a distance. When was the first time you were like, what happened to where you were like, I want to do this?
I was doing a podcast with my best friend, right?
Okay, so you were in this world without even doing.
I was doing a podcast with my best friend, and he was like, yo, son, you got to put this shit on stage.
Okay. Was this in Jersey?
Yeah, this was in Jersey. He kept telling me, he was like, you got to put this shit on stage. I was dealing with this chick at the time. She was a married woman, right? Right, but like we had like a great like I loved her, bro. So like she was like, yo, you should do stand up. Like if you do stand up, you'd be a star.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How old were you at the time when this is happening?
This was recent, bro. Like I was 29 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm 35 now.
Yeah, this was just like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then so right before the pandemic, so I started getting like serious about it, thinking about really doing it.
Yeah, because just for the listeners, just a quick timeline. I started like listening to podcasts and stuff in 2010, 11, and this is when podcasts were like first coming out. And you and I are the same age, so what I mean to say is that like so then by like 2000 and I don't know 2000 and what would that be 2009 2008 you were like, oh, I want to start a podcast, or no 2018 I guess that would be. When did you start doing the podcast? What year was that?
This was 2018.
Yeah, so it was 2018. Okay, so it would have been years after that.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting it's 2024 because I'm like, no, 2018 was like last year.
That shit's crazy.
But yeah, so 2018 you were like, because at that point podcasting was getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So you, at the time, what prompted you to start a podcast? Because normally, like as comics, everyone's got a podcast. Yeah. But for you at the time, you're just like, you like comedy, you're doing personal training. Like what prompted you to be like, oh, I should start a podcast?
Me and my boy, his name is Tariq Smith, right?
Okay.
We used to live together. So like we would literally just play 2K together, right?
Yeah.
But he was super smart. So we would just talk shit all the time. But when we would have people around us, you would literally see people stop talking and they would just listen to us go back and forth.
Yeah. And that was the podcast.
And that was it.
Dude, that's insane. Me and my buddy, Dan, who's been on the show, he's the original drinking buddy because in 2012, we would sit around, and this is when I was drinking, and just get hammered together and just talk shit. Like just talk.
Yeah.
And again, podcasting was really big at the time, and we were like, oh, we should start a podcast.
Yeah.
And we called it the Drinking Buddies.
Yeah.
Because we would just drink together and record. We recorded like 5 episodes, never did anything with it. Because, back then it was a lot harder to get an RSS feed and stuff. So it just kind of died on the vine. But it's literally the same exact thing that you're talking. Like, I was barely doing stand-up. Like, I started stand-up in 2009, but, I was doing like a mic every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I was barely doing stand-up, but I was like, oh, we should have a podcast.
Exactly.
And then fast forward like 8 years later, I'm sober, everything's going well. And I was like, oh, I got to bring the Drinking Buddies thing back.
Absolutely.
And then I got, bless you. Bless you. But then I got sober and I just called it X Drinking Buddy.
Yeah.
So, but like to piggyback on your point, it's like, oh, we're just talking shit, but everyone's interested. So you just started doing a podcast.
Exactly.
That blows my mind because it's like the way technology has advanced to where you're like, yeah, we'll just do our own show.
It literally, we were recording that shit on our iPad.
That's what I'm saying.
So, and built a dope following.
Did you really?
Yes, we did. Like, so what really got me into stand up though is my best friend 2020 committed suicide.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Right, and then we got locked in the house, and so I was gonna go crazy. So then, like, I just started putting out like my thoughts on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. Like I did like two Zoom shows, like 2 personal Zoom shows, just to like really work on the craft because I was really getting ready to start doing it.
Yeah.
By the time I got on stage, it was April. It was April 17th, 2021.
Okay.
I did Broadway Comedy Club Industry Room.
Yeah.
And the producer was like,
so that was the first time you had ever phically been on a stage.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah. But like it was crazy because I've gotten like shunned for this in comedy a little bit because like I started late, but I kind of say to them, I'm like, because I've talked to other comics who've been doing it for like 10, 15 years, and I'm like, a lot of y'all started in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're being honest, in your 20s, you weren't really committed to this shit.
No.
Right? You were fucking around. You probably fucked around for the first 8 years, right?
I tell people I started in 2009 because it sounds good.
Yeah.
Dude, like I said, I was doing like a mic every once in a while.
You feel me?
But like it wasn't.
So it's like, but then you commit for 2 years and then you fucking.
Yeah.
It didn't take you 9 years to get that good. It took you 2 years.
2 years of work,
actually working at the craft to become great at it.
Yeah, that's the thing is like when I was in and out obviously with my addiction and alcoholism. Mm-hmm. But when I came back in, when I got sober in 2018 and came back into comedy, I came in like full, like we're doing this. We're getting on stage as much as possible. We're doing like 5 or 6 mics a week. My friends who knew me from before were gracious enough, Marcus Crespo and Christina Shriver being 2 of the biggest ones, were gracious enough to be like, yeah, we'll put you on shows. We know you do comedy. We've known you from before, even though I was drunk on stage a lot and stuff back then. But they were like, we know you're a good enough comic to put you on these shows in Jacksonville. Yeah. And then Marcus, one of my best friends in the world, started taking me out on the road with him. Like, and I was like 2 months back into comedy because I had taken like 3 years off. But I've gotten so much better in the 2 years I've lived in New York. I've gotten so much better than the first 2 years of coming back into comedy than I ever did in the like 10 years before that.
Because you're actually focused.
Yeah, and you're dumping the work you're doing, and especially being older, you know what work ethic is.
Exactly.
You know what it takes.
I used to personal train for real. Like I really understand how to apply myself.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man. Like that's why I really appreciate Berg because.
How did you get hooked up with him?
Funny enough, I met him at a 5 p.m. bringer at Greenwich Village Comedy Club.
Really?
Yeah, he was closing it out. I guess it was like because it was like coming off of the pandemic, so I guess he was working out. Yeah, I think he was getting ready to drop. He was getting ready to do a taping, or he'd get ready to drop a special at that time. So I ended up going, I think, right before him, and I had a great, and this one was starting to really click for me.
Yeah, and then Greenwich Village is a kill box.
Oh.
For people who don't know, it's one of the most underrated comedy spots in the city. One of the most
underrated comedy spots in the city. It's
the same booker for Broadway and Greenwich, and whenever he calls me to do Greenwich spots, I'm always like, yeah. Greenwich is I love Broadway, but at the same time, it's like, it's so tight and the ceilings are so small.
Greenwich is it's such an underrated spot to kill him.
I had a set one time where I went up there, and like, it didn't matter what I guess the opening bit worked so well that it didn't like I was just saying setups and people were like,
yeah, it'd be like that.
And I'm like, all right, you guys are cutting off the joke. Like you guys got to chill out a little bit because I got to get the whole joke out. I'm recording this for God's sake.
It's like that. It's like that.
So you did this show at Greenwich and it went so well.
Yeah, it was crazy. And Berg literally goes, "Yo, you should do my podcast."
Okay.
That was Saturday. I was on his podcast Monday.
And this is when he was doing. Was this the base? What is it called? Berg's Basement?
Yeah, Berg's Base.
Yeah, Berg's Base.
That's when he's doing Berg's Base. So I did an episode with him. Then I did another. He brought me back again. Did another episode with me and Dave Temple and him.
Okay.
Then I didn't do an episode for a minute. Then he did.
And then you're still doing stand up at this whole time.
I'm still doing stand up. Like you know what I mean. Like
you and I had talked about this. You were doing a lot more bringers and stuff than you were open mics because you wanted to do like real shows.
Yeah. So sometimes I would just pay the money just to put because I knew it would get me sharper faster.
Yeah.
Because I know you can get caught in that rabbit hole doing the mics really fast. Like so, I figured
going to open mics, doing some of your A material because you're getting ready for a big show and no one's laughing and you're like. Maybe I'm not funny.
It's like I tell people like, listen, man, like I really, really care about the craft, but this shit is a business as well. So like if you approach it that way, you can skip a lot of the bullshit.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's how I did it with the podcast.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. Yep. People are like, so wait, you pay for a studio? And I go, yeah. And they go, why don't you just do it out of your apartment? I go, because this is a professional operation here.
Exactly.
And I say it all the time. I will put the studio, the quality, the sound, the video. I'll put that against anybody. You gotta
invest in yourself.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Like when we started doing the podcast, it didn't really pop until we took it to a studio.
Yeah,
once we took it to a studio, then you saw the growth. That's when everybody's like, "All right, they're really serious.
Doing it."
Yeah, they're dead serious.
I mean, how many comics do we know? And this is no shade, but it's just the truth. How many comics do we know? Where they have a podcast and you ask them about it and they're like, oh, it's on hiatus or, oh, we just kind of release episodes when we want to. And it's like, you can't build a following that way.
Nah, it's got to be.
This comes out every Monday, like clockwork, 7 a.m.
It's got to go. Yeah.
So you get hooked up with Aaron, you start, because you're working with him. How did the street famous thing happen?
All right, so he's still doing Berg's Base at the time. And then he brings me on one time. We do a street episode.
So you do a street episode of the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that shit was fun. It was dope. So I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Berg who said it. I think it was Louis J. Gomez who told him. It was like, yo, you got to bring back the man on the street.
Yeah.
All right.
Because that's the big thing.
So then we kept doing a few episodes, and then we had this clip go viral. Like the clip where we looking at the statue with the old man.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's like, what race you think she is? And I was like, she's a white woman because she has no lips. and Berg goes, I think it's a white woman because she's taking care of both her children. And yeah, so it was just a fire clip. So we do like 2 million views on that one. Then we did the other one where we with the fat British lady.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen that one?
No.
Oh, that shit's hilarious. Oh, that's it.
And that one hits too?
That one did like 3 million as well.
Damn.
Yeah. So at that point, once we did that, Berg committed, and then he just changed the name.
Yeah.
Like it was one thing I was never going to do. Like was we should know because like for real, I really appreciate the fact that he even.
Put you on, yeah.
Because a lot of people were rocking with it because like it was just you just started like
yeah.
But I was like, nah, like I'm actually dope. Like if you hear me,
well, and you're committed. That's the other thing too is that I've had people on this show because obviously my path was different.
Yeah.
But I've had people on this show where I've seen them, you included, where you see them and you go, oh, that's like a legit. Like, that's a comic. That's not a person who does comedy. That's a comic.
Yep.
And then you talk to them and they go, oh, yeah, I started like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4. And you're like, what?
Yep.
But it's just one of those things. And those are the only kind of people I like to have on the show.
Yeah.
Like, I've had different people on, like actors and musicians and stuff. And I love having just different artists on because we're all a little fucked in the head.
Of course we are. You have to be a little crazy.
Yeah. But it's nice to have people on, and I try to just have people on who are obsessed about what they do, because that's the crazy I'm talking about.
Yep.
It's weird to get people on and they're like, yeah, I work my day job and then I go to mics when I can, but I have all these friends that produce shows, so now I get to be on like 10 shows a month because my friends produce them, and it's like, well,
no disrespect, they don't be funny.
Yeah. You watch them bomb at a bar show and you're like, yeah, man.
You be at these shows and you're like, that's why I had to start changing my hang. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I know exactly what you mean.
You know exactly what I mean. I start changing my hang because I really want to rock on different stages.
That's why when I first moved here, my whole thing was like, oh, I've been in and around comedy for over a decade. I only hung at the Stand in the Cellar because I was like, these are the people I want to be associated with.
That's a fact.
These are the only people I want to be around.
That's a fact.
So that's just where I hang. And it's paid off. I mean, obviously, like, having people like you on the show and Derek Gaines and Maddie Weiner and, Emma Willman and all these like huge Dan Lamore, Natalie Cuomo, all these bigger comics. But it's just because like you are who you surround yourself with. And that's who I want to be. And it's interesting because I'll have people reach out or like talk to me at mics and stuff, and they'll be like, hey, how do you know so-and-so? And I go, oh, I just hang.
Yeah.
And we've all been through it. Like I was doing open mics in Oklahoma City at a bar where they wouldn't turn the Thunder game on. Like we've all been through the battles together. Like, so we know.
Listen, I learned this from my best friend, right? And she was like, yo, just walk through this shit like you own it. Until somebody stops you.
Yeah.
If they don't stop you, then just
keep on walking.
Yeah. And so that's how I operate, bro.
Yeah, just keep on going.
I just keep going. Like, yo, I can't tell you how many people I've met you just walk into a group.
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
What's up? Just chill until nobody told me to leave. All right then. This is
I'm
where
at the Cellar enough to where I will walk downstairs. Mm-hmm. Like if there's a comic I like, and I'll stand in that hallway and watch the comic. Yeah. Nobody says shit.
Yeah.
Because they've seen me enough to where they recognize my face and they don't know why. So they're like, oh, maybe he's up next. Maybe they have no idea I'm basically just above a bar show comic. But they're like, we don't know. I wanted to ask you, because you said you had a lot of stories because you do like to drink, which is the perfect thing for this show. Yeah. So when did you grew up in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. And your family is from your second generation?
Jamaican.
Yeah. But are you?
I'm first generation.
Okay. So your parents moved here from Jamaica?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So what was that like growing up in a household in New Jersey from an island country?
So first of all, my mom and dad never got married, but they're both still very active in life, in my life and everything like that. Yeah. They never got married. But anybody who's Jamaican or Caribbean, like it's like a universal handbook of how they raise their children.
Yeah.
You all go through the same shit.
Is it similar to Haitian?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard Will talk about it on stage.
Strict,
that's why I asked.
Very strict. Always about pride in yourself. You got to make sure. it's...
Well, my dad has that great joke about riding his bike.
My dad was super rigid.
Yeah.
But like I come to like realizing why is because like my dad was probably a wild nigga like myself. You feel me? And like so he really wanted
I would love to make that the title of the episode, but I definitely couldn't get away with that.
Oh yeah. Nigga's a pronoun to me. It comes out. I'm gonna use it. I like it. It's one of my favorite words.
So growing up, your dad was very strict.
Strict as shit.
So is that how you got the discipline to like do the personal training and stuff like that?
Well, yeah. My dad he got me into reading, but it was like a punishment because I used to fight a lot growing up. And one time I got...
Like physically or like argue with people?
No, fight. Like, I used to have bad temper. And I could always fight. Like, I boxed for years, did Muay Thai for years, did karate for years.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
So you're not worried out. You're never... Because I watched some of those clips on with the street stuff and I'm like... Aren't they worried someone's gonna like turn around and like punch Aaron or you in the face? No. Like, but you're like, you got it.
We're cool, like, cause like I don't think like the energies. And nobody, we're not small.
That's true, and it's a fun. Well, Aaron is, but it's like a fun energy.
Yeah, he kind of know how to do it. Yeah, it's like sometimes
there's a delicate art to that.
We almost want somebody to swing because you go viral.
Dude, that clip, talk about 30 million, not 3 million.
But like, I did security for years. I did security for like 6 years as well. So like,
you can read the room, and plus doing comedy, you can read.
You know how to handle yourself.
Yeah.
So but you're not really worried about that. You try to de-escalate anyway before it gets there.
Yeah. So you, growing up, you have a temper though, and you.
Yeah.
I say it all the time, man. People are always like, "Oh, violence doesn't solve anything." I'm like, violence is the supreme authority. You know how I know that? Because you can tell with what people say who's never been punched in the face for what they say.
Exactly. Because you'll think about what the fuck.
I think a lot more about what I say.
I've been
after
punched in the face
shit
before.
kicked out of me a few times.
Face for it. You talk too much shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to know. So it's like you're not really looking to do all of that.
Yeah. I say it all this is the real world.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, especially comics and especially like at mics or like smaller shows, comics can sometimes get a little wild.
Yeah.
And I have to be like, hey man, like I know we're friends and you're like just joking around.
Yeah.
And you put your hand on their shoulder and you go, but this is real life.
Yeah.
Like, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah, because you got to know who you could do that with.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and also like I'm all for joking around.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna like, I'm fine. My weight, my look, whatever you want. If you come after my jokes,
Yeah.
then I don't know what it is, but then I have a real problem.
Oh yeah, nah. I learned that. Yeah, keep your opinion to yourself about people's material.
Yeah, it's like you can say you can talk as much shit about me as you want.
What I tell people is, don't ask me my opinion.
Yeah,
because comics will do that.
Yeah.
Yo, what do you think about this?
Hey, how can I do? Yeah.
Don't ask me that because if you ask me and then I tell you the truth, now you know what a book.
Now we're not friends. Yeah. So growing up, how did your were your parents? You said they weren't married, but were they together?
No.
Okay.
No.
So were they both in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. So how was that growing up? Like because you said you have a short temper, but you also said your dad was very rigid. Did you guys just like?
I was with my mom more.
Okay.
So like,
and you said reading would be like a punishment for getting into fights and stuff like that.
But it was fire because like I love to read now.
Yeah.
Like, my dad kind of instilled that habit into me.
Yeah.
But, like now it's like we have the greatest relationship because I understand why he was such a psycho.
It took me to about 30 to get that.
Yeah. I got it around 25.
Okay.
Like,
you were quicker than I was.
Actually, no, 27 because I was selling drugs at about 20. That's a fact. Because I had moved out and like.
Just the fact that we're talking about something heartwarming in your relationship with your dad, and you go 25.
Yeah, because like,
well, no, hang on a second. I was selling drugs at 25.
I was though, because like,
what happened?
I moved out. I moved out the crib. Right, I was living with my mom at the time, and that's because it was just me and my mom at the time. Right?
Yeah.
So I was really staying with my mom to like make sure she was gonna help her out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I was smoking weed like aggressively at that point.
When did you start smoking weed?
Like 17.
Okay.
A little earlier than that, maybe 16.
So you've been smoking weed for about 8-9 years, and then
yeah,
it kind of picked up.
It just picked up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like, she wasn't rocking with it. She just kept trying. She threw out my seal-proof jar. She goes in my room. She looks in my dirty clothes hamper. She finds a seal-proof jar. Now imagine being in the house for 3 days, right? And you don't say shit to each other because you know she found your jar and threw it out.
Oh, but you guys just didn't say anything?
But I can't say shit to her about, yo, where the fuck is my weed? Because
obviously.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
That's exactly what's going on in the house. And then like she just goes off.
Just walking by each other like sheriffs in the Old West.
It was hilarious, bro.
Like I know that I know that you took it.
But I can't like yo, did you go in my room? I can't ask that question.
So what ended up happening? How did that all?
I moved out.
So that was the turning point where you're like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, because like I had to like I love my mom, but I really enjoy marijuana, so like keep me calm.
Yeah.
I need that shit to keep me calm. So yeah, I ended up moving out. Moving out was a little harder than I thought it was gonna be. All right.
Did you have a plan for getting out, or were you just like, I'm out of here and stay with some friends?
I was bouncing at the time, and one of my homies, she was one of the servers there. They was about to get a little 4-room house in Fairlawn.
Okay.
So I just moved in there. It was fire because I had like my own. I had my own entrance. I had the basement to myself.
Oh shit!
So I had my own entrance. I had a walk-in closet. I had the washer and dryer.
Damn.
Only thing I had to share the washer and dryer, so I just had to put.
Yeah.
That was the only downside. But yeah, that was fire. So, but waited so easy is because it was like in a townhouse spot.
Yeah.
I was personal training at the time, and like I won't go into like full details, but I was able to come across somebody who was able to front me a pound of weed a week.
Right? Oh shit, that's a lot.
Right, until it became 2 pounds of weed a week.
Damn.
right? So I was doing that. Then I had...
And you were bouncing and training too.
Bouncing and
so you could just wash all that money.
Yeah, it was easy work.
Yeah.
So then it was doing that. I was getting edibles as well.
Well, that's the one thing, like I tell people this a lot, but when you're a server, it's easy to fall into, especially in Florida where I'm from, it's easy to fall into illicit side jobs because you just wash your money as a server.
Yeah.
Instead of saying you made $75 a night, you say you made $200 a night. And
literally everybody who worked in my job I was their connect. And then at both jobs where I was bouncing, I was the connect. And where I was training at, I was the connect.
So you're just making money hand over fist.
Yeah. And then we're just blowing it because I was at strip clubs all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's
what you do.
Because that's what you do. You buy clothes.
Who are you talking to? I spent $28,000 in $26,000 in 28 days at one point.
I believe it.
I got a settlement from a car accident, and I would just walk into the strip club. This is my favorite story to tell. And I would change $200 in ones, and I would just throw it up and be like, "I'm here. Like I've arrived."
Listen.
Like.
The first time I actually ever really went to a strip club, it was this spot called the Palace, right? This was in Passaic, right?
How old are you at the time?
I'm 26.
Okay,
selling drugs.
So you're selling, yeah.
I just got promoted to I got promoted to manager, all right? At the actual gym I'm working.
Oh, this is at the gym. All right.
All right. So we walk in, right? It's like maybe 20 of us.
Damn.
But it's like girls and guys. Like
yeah.
It's like a whole group of us because all of us used to work at we used to work at a spot called Miller's. Right? We all go in and we cop a couple bottles of Hennessy. I don't drink Hennessy anymore, by the way, full disclaimer. Gave that shit up.
Cab was talking about, Cab Washington. He was talking about that last night on his set. He was like, what is this, 2014?
Yeah, no Hennessy. Yeah, nah. Oh, we used to go to Henny brunches. Jesus.
The only reason I say that is because brown liquor in the afternoon is rough.
Bro, listen.
You got to go vodka or tequila nowadays.
Yeah, now I know.
Yeah.
Nah, I was young and ignorant. So we copped some bottles of Hennessy, right? And like the store money. So my boy literally goes to one of the girls, right? He takes all my money. I'm like, why? First of all, in hindsight, why did you do this with your money?
Yeah.
He grabs some of my money and dumps it over my head and says to the girls, he just got a promotion, right? One of the girls, I kid you not, comes through, pulls my sweatpants down, right? And starts sucking my dick through my underwear.
What?
In the club. I kid you not.
What?
Right? I look down, I look up at the bouncer, and I'm like, she's doing this.
I did, yeah.
And he just starts dying laughing.
He's like, we know, that's cinnamon, man. She always does this.
Yeah, I was like, and then, and then, I was about to pay for it.
But you're just blowing through money. See, that's the thing, is people get mad at me when I tell them the story.
Went to the ATM 3 times.
Dude, people get mad at me when I tell them the story about burning through that money, but it's like, I was 22, and at the time, I had a serious alcohol, but like, I didn't know. Like, I just wanted to have a good time.
$28,000 with a habit is not a lot of money.
Dude, yeah, and that's... And I mean, the tag on stage is even shitty Coke gets expensive if you do enough of it. But like, it's just one of those things where I'd pay for like 4 or 5 dances, and I wouldn't even have them dance. I would just go in the back and like talk with them. Like I just wanted some privacy. Like I was that fucking guy, and it's insane to me that people are like, that's crazy. You could have paid this and paid. And I go, yeah, 35. I know that.
You know that now.
Yeah.
I look at all the money I spent on clothes and strip club. And I'm like, yo, I really could use that right now. Like, because I was smart enough to know not to buy no cars or no houses.
Anything taxable,
taxable. So I was just out here just buying clothes. I was fucking a lot of bitches, bro.
Yeah.
Because, weed is free. I mean, you don't even got to spend money no more.
Yeah. Because you just get what you want through the weed.
Yeah.
When did you, because you said you like to drink, obviously, and we've talked about it a little bit. When did you start drinking?
Early. We had a
because I'm interested living in a house that's a little more strict. Was your mom strict as well?
My mom was strict. My mom was never home.
Okay. So that makes sense.
We had our neighbors upstairs who used to take care of us. See, I actually credit her with my actual mental development because she actually treated us like adults.
Yeah.
So she spoke to us like adults. She actually let us see different things like adults. She actually allowed us to drink earlier in the house. So it wasn't something that you got obsessed with. Like I drink, but I don't I only went through one period in life where I felt like I had a drinking problem.
Was that the pandemic?
No.
Okay.
That was a manageable. That was me actually trying.
The only reason I ask is because that happened for a lot of people.
Well, it went for me like that too, but it wasn't because of the pandemic. It was because I was depressed as shit.
Yeah, because you're a friend. Yeah.
Yeah. This was just me just drinking just a drink. It was like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock and I'm drinking warm Jameson. Just in the room by myself.
Yo, I know that feeling.
And
how did that happen? How did it come to that?
I don't even know, bro. Like you don't even realize when it spirals like that, but it's like the lifestyle.
That's very true. You're absolutely 100% right.
When you're bouncing constantly and you're constantly drinking while you're at work and then you're drinking after work.
Yeah.
It just becomes something that calms you down and it becomes, all right, well, I need to be calmed at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that was the thing in the service industry was we just drank all the time.
I give you a dope story. This is one of my favorite stories to tell. My best friend, she's actually my roommate right now, right?
Okay.
We used to love to drink Jameson. This is like I'm 26 years old, right? I'm still selling drugs at this time. So we're going to William Patterson's homecoming.
Okay.
Right? Because my homie's dating a girl up there at that time. So we get a bottle of Jameson, me and her, right? And we kill that bottle of Jameson between me and her on the way up.
How far is that drive?
From Fairlawn to Willie P. Maybe what was that, 25 minutes, 25, 30 minutes?
You killed a bottle in 30 minutes?
Yeah, because we started drinking at home.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you killed that quarter of the bottle and you just kept killing it on the way up.
Just drinking, yeah.
So then we get there, right? We park the car because we know we don't got to drive for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
Right? So we thought, right? So we get there, we get some jungle juice, right? So we just walking through, we sipping the jungle juice, but we get there late. So they're getting ready to go to the after party, which is at this club in Patterson, right? So,
and you're drunk at this point.
I'm like, I'm smoking.
You're fucked up.
We are fucked up. Fucked up. Like, so we try to go get some pizza. I think we eat some pizza. That still doesn't help.
Yeah, you've been drinking and smoking all day.
Yeah, it still doesn't
You're
help.
like, no, 2 slices will take care of this. Yeah, soak it right up.
Soak it right up. It didn't soak shit up. It didn't soak shit up. We get to the after party, right? And so we're like,
what kind of club?
It's like it wasn't
like
safe.
A club?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't safe. It was like a lounge club.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't safe. It was right in the heart of Patterson. I know exactly where it's at too. Like, it was crazy, but it was a good time.
Yeah.
You know why? We go to the bar to go get some shots, right? This is when Patron was like the thing. Right? They give us a shot of Patron each, right? She comes back and says $4. I said, wait a minute. Y'all are giving out $2 shots of Patron?
Yeah, well, what?
Right? She was like, yeah. I said, we turning to Oprah in that bitch. You get a shot. You get a shot.
Was it just a promotion that they were running?
I don't know. Because it was like, I guess it was because it was a homecoming. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah. I was like, you get a shot.
Damn, so you were just passing them out.
So now we fucked up because I'm taking shots like crazy. We dancing all over the place. Right?
I can just see you on top of the bar like, you.
It was crazy, yo. We're like, yo, we got to go because my homegirl, she has a date like later this evening.
Oh my God, what time is it?
This is maybe about 7 p.m. at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. When you said showed up late to the party, I thought it was like midnight.
No. This was a day. This was a day drink. This was a day drink. Because it was a homecoming
game. Yeah, so it was during
a day
the
drink.
day. Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
It's like 7 p.m. She has a date.
The fact that you're hammered at an after party at 7 p.m. is hilarious.
Yeah, and it started early. So she's like, yo, I got to go get ready for this date.
You're not going on this date.
She makes it on this date. You got to hear the story. So I bet we got to go back and get the car. Right? So I forget. Did we take an Uber back to this part is blurry. I don't remember how we make it back to my car.
Yeah.
Right. I just know the way we decided who was going to drive is who we thought was the least amount of drunk in that moment. She won.
Yeah.
Right? So she gets in the car, she's driving, right? Like, she's on the parkway. She's doing like 90 miles an hour.
Jeez.
She's switching lanes. And I remember, she tells me, I said this to her, I looked at her and said, like, you know, if the cops pull us over, like, we deserve it. Like, we shouldn't be out here right now.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be driving like this.
Yeah.
And she was like, I feel you. We just got to get out the car and lay down and not even fight back. I was like, yeah. We make it back to her house.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right? We make it back to her house. I don't know. No cops, no nothing.
God.
Right? We get upstairs. Her mom's at the house right now cooking. Right?
Yeah, because it's like 7:30.
And she looks at us. She was like, y'all look drunk as shit. It's just like, nah, we're fine. She was like, she about to go on a date. And I'm about to go back to my crib. All right? So she comes home. She goes back. She actually gets in her car, drives to go meet the guy for her date, right? I drive home. I'm arguing with this girl on the phone. She's in Philly, right?
Yeah.
I'm arguing with her at the time, right? Because I'm going home to go get more weed. We arguing. She goes out. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going out to go try and find some regular bitch pussy, right?
Yeah.
Why do I get to the bar, right? Who do I see at the bar? My best friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Trashed. He's like, what happened? She's like, I don't know what my ID is. She actually made it on her date.
She got to the date.
She was still drinking. I was still drinking.
Wow.
Yeah. One of my favorite, that was one of my best days ever. It was so much fun.
How did you end up, like, what happened? Did you wake up the next day and want to die?
Yeah, no. I was out of commission for a couple of days after that, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we had alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, it sounds like it. As someone who's had it 3 times, it sounds like it.
Yeah, we were fucked up.
It's interesting because I people, especially because I'm in a super secret program that I'm not allowed to talk about to stay sober. It's anonymous. But it's funny because people will be like, my worst day sober is better than my best day drunk. And I always think like, what the fuck were you guys doing? Like, I have stories like stories like that where it's like, we had a great time. Yeah.
I just can't do that every day.
Yeah. And
that's the problem.
That's the thing is like, I got to the point where it stopped being fun, which is why I had to get sober because I was just sitting at home doing shots of vodka. I tell this story all the time, but I would watch Jersey Shore and I'd be like, no, I'm drinking socially because I'm watching them party.
That's a problem.
So I would be on the couch and when they would do a shot on the show, I'd be like, like I was in the show.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you. I know. 5 o'clock. Warm Jameson.
So how did you end up kicking that hat? Because you still drink and obviously
but I don't. No, we had a couple incidences. First of all, this one was actually recently. I went out with some friends. My best friend again. I'm always getting drunk with her. Her and my other dude, his name is King. Right, we go to this hookah lounge, and so we get a bottle of Douce. I stopped drinking cognac after this.
Okay,
so we get a bottle of Douce. And
I love it before you even tell the story. Like, just so everybody knows.
So we start. We get a bottle of Douce, and we get a bottle of champagne each. Right. So I'm killing this shit.
Yeah.
Right. Killing this shit. They said all of a sudden, I'm like, yo, I gotta go get my girl right now. Like I'm like, yo, you can't drive. I'm like, nah, I'm going home. Take me to my car. Right now, I'm going to get my girl, right?
Starting to get mad.
Right. So they take me to my car, right? I'm trashed.
Yeah.
I pick her up, right? I drive her back home, right? I wake up the next morning. I kid you not, I looked at her and said, what are you doing here?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, so you time traveled. You had a total blackout.
I was fucked up. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, how to get here? And she was like, you came and picked me up.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
She was like, I was like, yo, I was trashed. You sure I can't? She was like, you came, picked me up. Yeah, I thought you were a little drunk, but you actually drove home really well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a weird thing because I've been that guy a million times where it's like, wait, how did I get here?
Yeah,
Where are
man.
we? Yeah. And people are just like, what do you mean you don't remember? Because I got to the point when I was drinking, I got to the point where, and this is funny because people would always say, I was like a party starter towards the end of college. Once I stopped playing college football and my drinking got really out of hand, what my friends would do is they would invite me to parties with their coworkers because they knew I would get it going. I'd be like, hey, let's do a shot. You do a shot. You do a shot. Come on, let's have a good time.
I was that guy too, bro.
Yeah. But the problem is I'm getting 10 different people to do shots with me, which means I've done 10 shots. Yeah.
It happens quick.
Yeah. And so people would always be like, it was interesting because people who didn't know me, they'd see me in the first hour of the party and they'd be like, man, Brennan's hammered. Because I'm like, yeah, we're having a good time. And all my friends who knew me would be like, no, he's not. And then when I would sit on the couch in complete silence, just staring at a blank TV, they'd go,
they know.
now he's drunk. That's what he looks like when he's hammered. But there's so many times you just wake up and you're like,
see, when I'm really drunk, I literally become the exact energy of the room I'm in.
oh, really?
Yeah, which can be really good or really bad.
Yeah, it can also turn pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten on stage drunk?
Yeah. The first 2 times I ever like auditioned, I was trashed.
Really?
This is actually hilarious. I actually got my residency at Broadway this way too.
Just hammered?
We went to, it was Juneteenth. It was Juneteenth, right? And I think I drank like three-fourths a bottle of Casamigos to myself.
Okay.
So we're just walking around Juneteenth like I'm fucking, because I'm nervous.
Yeah. Because you have the audition.
Yeah, so
This is your first time on stage.
This is 3 months after my first time.
Oh, okay.
Right? But this is because I didn't get it the first time.
Got it. I got it. So you did the industry room, didn't get it. Now this would add even more anxiety because you're like, oh, I didn't get it the first time.
Yeah. So and it's like the first Juneteenth. So like we're having a fucking great ass time.
Yeah.
We're walking around. I'm not really in a relationship at that point, so there's a lot of hoes out.
Love this.
Right? You are sharp, sir.
That's gonna be a visual clip for the listeners.
So there's a lot of bitches out, right? I'm trashed. I literally go to one of my homies like, I don't really got to do this audition today. Like, we could do another one. Like, we out here having a great time. And they looked at me. I had mad people that like came to see me. So we take the Uber. I pass out.
This is during the day too.
This is during the day. Yeah, day drinking is.
You're in on the day drinking.
Day
I
drink.
love that.
Day drinking. I went to a pool party like that. I got drink stories for days.
Yeah.
So I pass out in the Uber. Right, I get to Broadway.
So you're like, I don't have to do it, but your friends are like, no, you gotta go. So you pass out in the Uber. And you wake up at Broadway.
Wake up at Broadway, trashed. I walk in, I order some fries. Right, I literally take the fries and I just shove them shits. Right,
this will fix it. It's a pizza all over again.
And I start drinking water. Right, and my homies who was out with me, they was like, there's no way he's about to perform.
So at this point, are you still with them or are you down in the green room?
I'm down in the green room. They actually are in the audience.
Yeah,
now.
so you're just not talking to any of the other comics or anything?
No. Right?
Just sitting in silence.
Just sitting there. Just like this, just killing him I'm fucked up. So even the producer was like, you should really lay off the water before you come in to, perform.
Yeah.
That's how bad I looked.
Yeah.
I get on stage, I fucking murder.
Really?
Like murder with my material. Like it wasn't no me or no drunk shit. Like I had to be autopilot. Right? Because even my friends were like, yo, I don't know how he's about to perform.
Yeah.
Because they knew.
You were sleeping in the Uber 5 minutes before.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how he's about to. I went to autopilot. And then got it, yeah.
And just crushed it.
God,
that's awesome.
That's literally how that happened, yeah. I was trashed. And then after, I stopped drinking. I stopped drinking to perform after that. Like, I can have a drink, but I don't get trashed.
Yeah. Well, because it's a weird thing, too. Like, I used to, from when I started until 2018, whenever I'd get on stage, for the most part, I'd be drunk.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird, because I'm like, oh, I have to drink because I'm nervous. But then you get to a point, especially on a bigger show, it doesn't matter how much you drink, you're still going to be nervous.
You're supposed to be nervous. That means you care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't go away. But it's just interesting because now not drinking on stage, obviously I love being sober and everything it's afforded me. But the problem is there are certain shows where the first joke doesn't land, and then I'm fucked. Because I have so much pent up anxiety, and then I'm not drinking or I'm not loose. I'm not like, hey. So if the first joke doesn't hit, I get immediately in my head, and then it turns into like.
You know what I did to work on that? I used to go out and start turning the audience on purpose.
Oh, like I see what you're saying. So you know it's coming, and then that way you can build it back up.
Build it back up. So now if something like that happens, you're comfortable.
Yeah.
So I created that habit.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's exactly so. And it's part of my style. Like I really will I'll open up with like one of my wildest jokes.
Yeah, just to see where the room is.
Just to see where the room is. And if I know they're not there, I'll pull back. Can you lose them completely out? That's the risk you take though.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the other thing too.
You still get paid.
Those shows where they're down, like if you come out and throw something wild at them right when it starts and they're down for it, that's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great set.
Yeah.
And if they pull back, then all right, you adjust. But
no, that's I did that. That's how I got over that. I should just go out here and try to turn the room.
Try to. I had a couple of bits I could open with that would do that.
And then now you're gonna
now big and bad.
So now when you actually know you do one of your bits that you know crushes your opener, crushes on top, and it does it, you're comfortable because you've been there before.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And that's why I tell people, like newer comics, I'm like, if you want to like build up tough skin, do the Grizzly Pear mic. Ugh. Because it's like you're performing to one person or two people and it's silent and all the lights are on. It's like that will get you comfortable in silence.
That's how that's why them Zoom shows helped me so crazy.
Because you got comfortable in it.
I was ignorant, so I didn't know better, which was a blessing.
So you were just like, this is how it is.
Right. So like now when you hop on and they laughing, you're like, oh shit, this gives me energy.
Yeah.
And then now you start to, and then like I study structure like crazy.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of comedy. Like I go out and watch comics. I don't only watch good comics. I watch bad comics to see what I'm not supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you got to see it. And and
dude,
repetition.
Absolutely. This was so much fun. Yeah. You got to come back on.
1,000.
We only 2,999. Plug everything one more time.
Oh man, Andre2999. That's where you can find me. Street Famous NYC. Grizzly Pear. Elite Art Only January 24th, 8 p.m. Oh, and I got a taping coming up 420 this year. Location to be announced. So
hell yeah, man. Well, when you get that information, shoot it over to me and I'll adjust it in the show notes so people can find it.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bro. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you everybody so much for listening at Brennan T Comedy on all social media, BrennanTComedy.com. The One Man Show, wide release, will be January 16th, 2024. A year after I taped it. We tried to do it on Patreon and nobody watched it. So I was like, I'll just put it out to the world.
Yeah, see, once it starts to pick, then you can hit it with the Patreon. Yeah. You got to like tease him.
You can't do it the other way around.
You got to tease him and do different shit with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
But thank you everybody so much for listening. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Thank you.
Boom.